Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I know I look a little weird right now with all this base on, but I think we're gonna deal with that. So today we are here to review the new Nude Palette by Huda Beauty. I haven't even opened this right now and I thought we would do that together. So let's just begin with it. So as I'm opening this palette, it comes in a plastic, packaging, and it's really the translucent kind of a packaging. And so this is how the package, the palette looks from the outside. I am honestly obsessing over the look of Huda, on the palette, and she looks really, really pretty. So when we open this palette, we have another same look of Huda on the palette. It's in the palette itself, and when we remove it, this is how the palette looks. So this basically has 18 eyeshadows in 5 ready to layer textures, 10 buttery mattes, 4 multi-reflective shadows, 2 pressed glitters, 1 pressed pearl, and 1 concealer base. I really like the idea of having concealer inside the palette itself for cutting the crease, or maybe even using it as a base to the eyeshadow, and I'm really happy with that. And at the back of the palette it says, prep your lids with the concealer base, build your look with mattes and shimmers, blend the multi-reflective shadows into your mattes for diffused light, apply over base or bare lids for a subtle pearlescent glow. I love that. Use your fingers, a sponge brush, or a setting spray for maximum iridescent shine. Add the glitters with a firm, dense brush for an extra pop. And we're definitely going to swatch these and then move ahead and create a look with it. So let's jump into the swatches for now. Starting with this shade called Bare. So this is how it looks. This is called Bare. Then we're going to swatch the mattes first. Then moving on to the shade called Lace. It is a lilac purple kind of a matte. I hope we can see that. I think we need another layer of this. So this is how that looks. Then moving on, I really want to swatch the concealer because we need to see how buttery it is. It does not have a lot of coverage. Can we see that? We'll take another layer of it. So it's obviously very light for my skin tone, but yes. So this is how these 3 shades look. Moving to the second column, then we have the shade Crave here, and I am obsessing over this shade. It is a perfect dual, So this is a multi-reflective shadow. Then we have the next multi-reflective shadow called Daydream, and this is how it looks. So this basically has a tiny, it really is a multi-reflective shadow in the shade, it's a lilac shade. Moving on to the next matte, this is called Secret, and this is how it looks. Moving to the back of the hand now. So this is how these 6 shades look, starting from Bare, Lace, the Concealed, Crave, Daydream, and Secret. So this is how these shades look. moving on to the back of the hand, I'm going to start with this matte shade called Play, and this is how it looks, if you can actually see it. So this is called Play. Then we have Tickle. So this is how Tickle looks. So we have Play and we have Tickle here. You can see these, right? Moving on, we have Tease, which is again a matte shade. So this is Tease. Then we have another shimmery shade called, oh my god, see that pigment, man. So this is called Fantasy. Then we have another pigment, and this is a chunky glitter, if you can see this. And this also has a lot of kickback in the pan while swatching. So this is called Excite, and we will just swatch it here, and we can see it is quite chunky here, and we definitely need a bit of glue with this one. Then we have another matte shade called Raw. So this is Raw. We have another matte shade called Love Bite, and I think this is the darkest shade that we have. Then yes, Excite is very chunky and it has a lot of kickback in the pan as well. I really want to show that. You can see this shade Excite, it has that kickback in the pan, and I'm not really happy with that. But going ahead, we have another chunky glitter called Infatuated. You can see this is chunky as well. Then we have another shimmer which is called Charm, and these dual shimmers are really pigmented and very buttery, but we have two chunky glitters called Excite and Infatuated, and we definitely need a glitter glue with these. So these multi-reflective shadows, I'm very happy with them because you know they are really buttery, and this is how they look. Then we have the last three colors that are left, and I think we'll have to go a little down. Then we have another matte shade called Spanked, and this is how it looks. So this is, we need another, this is called Spanked, and I really like the name. I really like the idea of that color name. So then we have another shimmery, buttery shade called Kinky, and this is an amazing shade. Really happy with that. And the last shade called Teddy is a matte again, and this is how this looks. These are basically the shades, the swatches of the new nude. We have 3 shades that are we already got rid of them. So yes, this is how the swatches look, I am not happy with the fact. I really like the idea that we have a concealer to cut the crease, but if you guys see, you know, we have chunks of glitter in this concealer pan already from this side, so which is a chunky glitter, so we can be kind of, you know, so this is definitely going to be a problem with these chunky glitters. They have they have a kickback in the pan, which definitely would get into this concealer, and we will not be really able to use it very nicely after that. But nonetheless, let's get into the look, and I am sure you guys are going to love it. Let's see how it actually performs on the eye. I think I want to start with this Conceal, and before we get on to anything else, I'm going to start with this shade, the concealer shade, and prep my eye. First I need to get rid of this chunk of glitter from its side. God, this is messy now. See? And that is what I was afraid of. Let's see. So taking a flat brush from Mud in the number 320. So this is the normal flat brush, and I'm going to take this shade and apply it on my lid. So I'm just patting this here to kind of set it while putting it on. So obviously this is a very light shade for my skin tone, but when we're going to use it for a base of the eyeshadow, it is definitely going to make the eyeshadows pop. So after patting the concealer in, I'm going to do that on the other eye as well. So after having the concealer on the eyes, I'm going to move in with this brush and the shade Tickle and start in the crease. So I am basically using the shade Tickle as a transition shade and applying this all over the crease. Similarly on the other eye. Okay, so I basically like to do both the eyes simultaneously, and there are a lot of people who like to do one eye and then move on to complete one eye and then move on to the other, but I really like to do both of them simultaneously. It really helps to, you know, make them look even. So that is the reason I really like to do them simultaneously. So I am just using windshield wiper motions here to completely blend it in the crease line, and I think we need to kind of build this color a bit, because as far as the fallout is concerned, it is not really, there's hardly any fallout, and that is a pretty good thing. So I am just using windshield wiper motions and blending the color into the crease. That's it. Now taking a smaller brush, I'm taking here MAC 217, and I'm going to take a darker color. So the darkest color here that we have is the Lagirl. So I'm just going to take this color. This is pretty pigmented and that is really nice. So I'm just going to kind of, you know, layer it onto the crease like this. So I'm just kind of layering it. So taking this shade called Love Bite, I am just going to stamp it onto the crease to just give it some depth. And this one is really pigmented, which is a great thing. Just moving on to the other eye, we are going to stamp this again. So I am just stamping it on the outer corner first, and then whatever is left, I'm just going to drag it to the inner corner. This is how we want it. I'm just going to intensify it a bit with another layer of the color. And this brush is basically, it is a pointed blending brush, which really makes it easy to get into the crease and apply the color, which is really, it really helps to intensify the color. So now that we have our shade on, I'm just trying to intensify this a bit. Similarly on the other eye, just using, so first we've just stamped the color, and now I'm just going to use the same wiper motions to blend it out, so there are no harsh lines. Okay, so it really helps to raise your brows while doing the eye, so we do not have any skin folds which kind of get in the way while you're blending the color. Now I'm going to take the same brush and use the same color called Tickle and just blend any harsh lines, blend the edges of Love Bite, and here I am now using round and wiper motions together, so it just makes it all look very flawless. So this is how you are supposed to deal with the colors. And then moving on to the other eye, I am just going to blend that. You can see, using round circular motions and wiper motions together, it will give a perfect, flawless blend. To blend this further, I am going to take the Morphe Jaclyn Hill brush in the number JH32, and now I am going to use the shade Teddy. This shade is pigmented, but it really has a lot of kickback at the pan. So I'm not happy with that, but yeah, that is how it is. So I'm just going to blend any harsh lines with this one, using the windshield wiper motions again. Always make sure you tap off the excess while using the eyeshadows, so it does not get very intense. And I always prefer to take a very slight, I'm hardly touching the pan, and just blending it with very gentle pressure, so it gives that perfect blend and transition. When you're always stamping the color, use a little, you have to use more pressure, but while you're blending it, you hardly use any pressure. So I'm going to use the MAC 217 and dip into Love Bite again, and now I'm just going to stamp it on the outer corner to make the outer corner really intense, because that is, you know, how intense we can actually go, because that's the darkest shade that we have here. And I really wish we had, you know, just a few more darker shades, darker than Love Bite. It would have really helped to intensify the outer corner. So this is how dark we can actually go. Moving on to the other eye, I'm going to stamp it on the outer corner again. So I'm basically stamping it in a V shape towards the outer corner. You can see as near to the lash line as possible. Now with hardly anything in the brush, I am just going to move around the crease to give it some more depth. So this is how it looks right now, and I am kind of confused as to what shimmer shade should we use today. I am really happy with the fallout. There's hardly any fallout on the eye, though we have some kickback in the pan, but I'm really happy with how, you know, there's hardly any fallout. Okay, so I think we are going to go ahead with this shimmery multi-reflective shadow in the shade Daydream, and it really tells you that you should use these, you know, shimmers with your fingers for that perfect shine. So what I really want to do is I want to do one eye with the finger and maybe another eye using a flat brush. So that is going to really help, and let's see how it really works. So I'm going to use my finger onto this eye, and this is really intense. I'm very happy with that. Well, I really have nails and it's really difficult to get in the inner corner, but I think we managed. Well, that is pretty pigmented. Okay, so this one I've used my fingers, but on the other eye I plan to use a flat brush like this Makeup Forever brush in the number 226. So this is basically a flat brush which I'm going to use to apply this pigment. So I really want to use MAC Fix Plus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this shimmer, this eyeshadow on the dry brush, and it can hardly pick up any. Well, it hardly picks up any. So I am just going to spray my brush with this MAC Fix Plus, and now I'm going to dip my brush again, and let's see if it really gets that intense. I can hardly see the pigment now. God, see this? And there is hardly any pigment now. I think we'll have to move ahead with, let's give it another try. And when I'm using it with my brush, again there is a lot of kickback in the pan, and there is any pigment that is showing up here on the side when I'm using it with this flat brush. So I think we'll have to just move ahead with our fingers only. God, that makes a lot of difference. Okay, so since I have my nails, it was really difficult to get in that inner corner, and that is why we have some of that shimmer on the lower lash line as well, but I think we're just going to, change that. I'm really happy with that pigment now. I'm just going to move ahead with this same 217 and dip into Love Bite again. And I am just going to tap that eyeshadow on the outer corner so that there are no harsh lines that show, that kind of show up from the pressed eyeshadow. And then let's do it on the other eye as well, dipping it, and I'm just going to press it lightly on the outer corner. Alright guys, I'm just going to move in with the shade Tickle again and just blend this. Similarly on the other eye, tapping off the excess, I'm going to blend this. Now taking the shade Teddy again, which has hell lot of kickback in the pan, and I'm not a big fan of that, but the shade is really pretty and you cannot stop dipping into it. So okay, I kind of like that look. So this I think is going to be a very go-to palette, and it will be, this kind of look you can always wear it for your parties, for any weddings, even for your daytime. Obviously except this dual, shadow, this pressed pigment, but otherwise it is a really pretty look. I think I'm just going to put on some lashes and eyeliner, and then I'm just going to come back. So I just did the lashes and lips off camera, and I am really obsessing over this look, but we need to get onto the lower lashes now. And getting onto the lower lashes, I think I am going to use, let's see, I think I'm going to use Love Bite and Tickle again. So taking a smaller blending brush. So this one is by Mud in the number 630, and I'm just going to take Love Bite on it, and I'm going to apply it towards the outer corner of the lower lash, blending it. And actually I'm just going to combine and join the upper corner and the lower corner so that they do not look separate. I don't think it's as pigmented as I would want it to, but that's kind of the darkest color in the palette, and I think we'll have to just kind of deal with that. So I am honestly a big fan of Huda products, and the foundation that I've used today is also the Faux Filter foundation, and I honestly love the coverage. I love how it actually looks on my skin, I love it, but I actually do not, since I am more towards this drier side, I don't even like to kind of set it too much with a powder, and I honestly like to just use my Fix Plus over it and I'm kind of good to go. And when I kind of want that dramatic full coverage look, it is only then that I need to kind of set it with a powder. So I'm just going to take a smaller brush, this small, precise brush, and we'll go in with the shade Tickle and tapping off the excess. I am just going to blend these two together, joining it with the upper corner, the upper shadow area, so that they do not look separate. So that is how you kind of have to do it. And then move on to the other eye. I'm going to repeat the same steps. So I am somebody who really likes that smoked out lower lash line, and that is why I'm using, a little bigger fluffy blending brush. Else you can also go for a precise brush that kind of looks, makes it even more, precise. But I really like that smoked out look. So that is why I am kind of using a bigger brush. But you can always go for a smaller brush, smaller blending brush, so that it looks a little precise. Alright, so I honestly do not think that there is any color which we can kind of use for the brow highlight or the inner corner highlight. So I think I am going to go in with my KKW highlighter palette number 1, and I am going to use this shade Pink here, and this is kind of the rose gold pink, which would look like perfect for this look. So I'm just going to take it on a smaller pointed flat brush, and I am going to highlight my brow bone. That is really pigmented. So the lips, I have used Trendsetter from Huda again, but I think we could have gone for some pink tones, and I think I'm going to go in with Gossip Girl. So we're just going to test that out. You see that? So even this brush for that precise is really good. Precise lower lash line. So this is 350V by Mud again. I really like mud brushes. They really make a lot of difference. And now moving on to the mascara. I'm going to use this L'Oreal mascara, and I think on the lower lash line. So here we have the final look. We really need to use that highlighter on our cheekbones as well, and I'm again going to use this Morphe Jaclyn Hill brush in JH09, and using the same highlighter that we used on the inner corner and the brow bone. I'm going to just highlight my cheekbones. And that highlight is insane, and I'm just tiny bit highlighted on my temples. So this is an amazing highlighter brush, and I just kind of love it for that. God, that highlighter was blinding. Tiny bit somewhere else. So this is the final look that I have come up with. And I honestly think that we should just give that lip a change. And I really want to try Gossip Girl with this look. So let's just give that a try. I am actually liking this lip shade better because it just gives you that pop, and this really looks nice. That highlight is blinding. Okay, so yeah, now I really want to give you my final reviews on this palette. I am a big fan of Huda Beauty, and I love all of its products. I like how these multi-reflective shadows have turned out. So I really like these multi-reflective shadows. I am in love. The pigmentation is amazing. The mattes really blend out seamlessly without any efforts. I hardly had to really, put a lot of pressure while blending my mattes. The shimmers are really pigmented, really buttery, so I'm completely in love with those. There is tiny bit of kickback in the pan, nothing too crazy, so you really do not need to be amazed about that. It is absolutely like the kind of kickback you would have in Anastasia palettes. I am in love with the concealer as well, because the concept behind it was amazing. You really do not need a new concealer for this. You can absolutely use it as your eyeshadow base. And also, I think I really need to do a few more looks, because you can actually come up with a lot of looks with this eyeshadow palette. It's just that I would have loved if we had just a few more darker shades, which would have kind of helped us with the outer corner. And yes, I completely give this a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Do not forget to hit the subscribe button, and I post videos every Wednesday. Do leave a comment down below if you would like to see any further looks with this. I just hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. See you guys in my next video. Thank you so much.